All right, all right. On TikTok, on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hey, I'm Brian Manning, and I'm a political asylum lawyer. My law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers, and we help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. We help people all over. We got clients in Texas, where we're located. We got lots of clients in California, New York, Florida, around Chicago, everywhere in between those places. I'm going to answer your questions about getting asylum in the United States. So go ahead and start asking them. Leave them in the comments. By the way, tell me in the comments, say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. Hey, Matt on YouTube. Thanks for being with us. Good to see you. Let me know where you're watching from and maybe what country you're from as well. I love hearing where you guys are at and where you're from. All of our community here, all of the community of folks who are trying to do the best that they can to put themselves in the best possible chance for asylum success, so they can stay safe and stay here and build their future here. Daniel says Houston, Texas. Cool. Yeah, that's where we're based. The HOU, Houston. TikTok, how's it going? Go ahead, start leaving your question. Say hello first of all, and then if you've got questions, leave them in the comments. I'm going to get to those questions in just a second. Let me, though, address something else real quick. I want to say a few words about this topic, but while I do that, say hello, let me know where you are, and start leaving your questions. Let's do it, okay? I want to talk first, though, about having your hearings by video conference. So if you're in immigration court proceedings, meaning you've received what's called a notice to appear. This is a document where the government says, hey, we're trying to deport you, okay? And you have to go to immigration court to defend yourself. If that's your context and you're seeking asylum through the immigration court, then you might have to do your hearings. You might get to do your hearings, I should say, by video conference instead of going in person. This has become increasingly common, as you can imagine, since COVID, right? I mean, the immigration courts were just completely closed for a while, as were the asylum offices. But then when they opened back up, I saw a comment on there. Is the mic volume not good? Let's see. Increase the volume of your mic. Let me try that. Is that better? Turk Mileti, is that better on YouTube? I'm turning it up. Turning it up. Let me know. Let me TikTok or YouTube and LinkedIn. Let me know if the mic volume is low. All right. So I was saying that, yeah. So video conferences became more and more common, right? Because it's easy, it's convenient. You don't have to pack a bunch of people into the same courtroom, into a very confined space. And some judges like it, right? Some judges just think that it's the way to go. Others don't, but still now a lot of judges do want to do it by video conference. And so you may get the notice. Your notice may say your hearing it will either say it's in person or it will say it's going to be by video conference. If it says it's by video conference, it will have a link, like a URL that you got to use on your computer to actually go to your hearing by video conference instead of in person. And you can also check this online. Just recently, which is maybe like a couple months ago, EOIR, the part of the Department of Justice that runs the immigration courts, made this change where now on the online system, when you go to look at your status, your case status, and you have a hearing coming up, it will show you whether that hearing is it will say in person or it will say, I can't remember if it says video conference or virtual. I think it says video conference. It doesn't have the link on that website. It will tell you in person or video conference, but it won't actually have the link there. You should get the link in a physical mailing letter that you get in the mail, but also you can search it online. You can search every single judge's all of them have their own link for like their virtual courtroom, right? And when I want to get to it, I Google EOIR immigration judge WebEx link, and the first result will be this page EOIR. Make sure it has .gov at the end of it, okay? That it'll be a page where you can see every single judge's link and copy it, or you can click on it. It'll open it up to the video conference. All right. Is it a good or bad? Before I address whether it's a good or bad thing, let me say this. You can ask to have your hearing done by video conference. Okay. Like if it says in person, you can make a motion to the judge where you say, Judge, can we please do it by video conference? You should try to provide a reason, like if you live far away from the court, maybe. it's sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. Okay. And now to turn to the question of, is it a good thing? The question is it a good or bad thing to have your immigration court hearing done by video conference? I think it's a good thing. I know some other lawyer friends of mine who don't like it. They're like, oh, we like to, see all the body language of everyone else, of the judge and the prosecutor. And we just like that feeling that you get from being in person. But me, no, I think it's better to do it by video conference, including the individual hearing, including the big important one where you're really fighting your case, where you're explaining yourself. I find that our clients tend to be much more comfortable sitting at home in the comfort of their own home, where they can just feel a little bit less intimidated than this courtroom setting that just feels sort of austere and very formal and stuffy, and it's kind of intimidating. I think it's actually better for our clients to be able to think clearly and tell their story well when they're sitting in the comfort of their own home. Now, you got to ensure that you have good internet. Okay, you got to have good Wi-Fi or plugged in landline thing, because it's not good if you're cutting out. But as long as you got good Wi-Fi and you have a quiet place to do it, then I really think that video conference is actually better. But that's what we push for. At my law firm, we prefer to do it by video conference. Okay. Here's another related question. Can you do your asylum interview with USCIS by video conference? Now, it's true that you can do some hearings with the immigration court by video conference, but it's not like that with USCIS. USCIS, so if you've got an affirmative asylum case, meaning you're going to have your interview not in immigration court, but you're going to have an interview at an asylum office with an asylum officer, those are in person for you at least. So they do not allow applicants to appear virtually by video conference or telephone or anything like that. You as the applicant have to go in person. Your lawyer, however, we can actually do it virtually. They allow lawyers to participate virtually by video conference or telephone. So immigration court, you may have no choice here. You may be forced to do it virtually by video conference. If it says in person, you can ask to have it be done by video conference instead. But asylum office, nope, all in person for you, the asylum applicant. All right, that's what I wanted to tell you about today. I'm going to turn to the questions, but first, if you want to talk with us about this stuff on TikTok, everyone on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, if you want to talk with us about anything related to your asylum case and see if we might be able to help you, then you can schedule a consultation. I'm going to put the phone number up there on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, but TikTok, I can't put it on the screen. You got to go to my profile. It's 713-909-0401. Again, the number is 713-909-0401. That's where you can call if you want to schedule an asylum strategy session, a consultation with one of our asylum professionals, so we can talk about your situation, see what's going on, tell you whether we think we can help you. And if we think that we can help you, we're going to tell you how. We're going to tell you the concrete steps that we would take to give you the best possible chance of winning your asylum case. And we help people all over the country. It doesn't matter where you live. We can help you anywhere in the United States. We have clients all over the United States. So, yeah, give us a call if you want to talk. Actually, right now, it's free. I used to charge for consultations, but right now, we're offering them for free. I don't know if we're going to keep doing that forever. So take advantage of it. Schedule a consultation now, an asylum strategy session, so that we can see if we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. All right, to the questions. Let's start with Matt on YouTube says, hello, Matt. Daniel's in, I think Daniel, you said you're in Houston. Yep, Houston, Texas. Cool. Daniel says, can you send some samples for an asylum interview? Glad you asked. Daniel, you're watching on YouTube. Everyone on TikTok, go to my YouTube channel, okay? Go to YouTube and just search for political asylum lawyers on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search for political asylum lawyers. There, you're going to find my channel. That's where I've got all my best stuff, okay? And probably the best place to look for like serious, hardcore, detailed trainings, tutorials, go to the playlist tab, okay? Under the playlist tab, you will see one of the playlists is called like full-length asylum trainings or something like that. That's where, Daniel, that's where you're going to find stuff that is going to tell you like everything you could possibly want to know about the asylum interviews. There's two videos in particular that I'm thinking of. One is called 133 Questions to Expect at Your Asylum Interview. It's called that, but there's really like 300 or something like, I can't remember. I kind of went crazy. I just kept going with examples. That's going to be really helpful. And then another one, there's another long one I think it's like an hour long or something called I can't remember what it's called, but it's all about like, here's what to expect at the asylum interview. And it just walks you through everything that's going to happen that day so that you go into it feeling prepared. And, this is something that we do with our clients, right? Is we do a full scale mock interview, a practice interview with them so that they'll know what to expect on the day of the interview. They know what kind of questions they're going to get. They know what it feels like to be in this position. They know what the different procedures are for the day. And then all of this is going to help them to feel more comfortable and confident and ready to do a good job at the asylum interview. Okay. That's the mock interview that we do. But, if you're not one of our clients, if you're not in a position to hire an immigration lawyer, then, or even if you hire an immigration lawyer that's not me, go to my YouTube page and you're gonna find some stuff there on my YouTube channel that I think is going to be really helpful in giving you confidence and helping you to do a good job at your asylum interview or your immigration court hearing. Thanks for commenting, Daniel. Sahar's in Chicago. Akbarzadeh. Where are you from, Sahar? Akbarzadeh. Are you Persian? Are you from Iran or Turk Mileti? We got hello, dear Brian. Hey, Turk. Thanks for watching. YouTube, we got hello from Huds Wallace. Hello, watching from Washington State. Thank you for being here. Matt is in New Jersey. Excuse me. Matt in New Jersey says, what are the chances of being granted asylum in New Jersey? So the question is, what are the chances for getting asylum in New Jersey / New York? Here's the thing. Funny thing about New York. We'll start with New York. Funny thing about New York is that in New York, the asylum office for people that are in affirmative asylum proceedings, the approval rate is really low. It's one of the lowest in the entire nation among the asylum offices. But over in the immigration courts, they've got a high approval rate, one of the higher approval rates among immigration courts in the country. It's really incredible and wild that there's this huge disparity. Asylum office, terrible for asylum seekers. Immigration court in New York, great for asylum seekers. Now, over in New Jersey, next door, it's a high approval rate, both at the asylum office and at the immigration court. So New Jersey, good all the way around. New York, not good at the asylum office, but good in immigration court. All right. Turk, did the volume go up on YouTube? Does it sound better? Let me know. Pella says, hello, Brian. Franklin says, hello, sir, from Cameroon. Does the third country law still exist? This is tricky. I'm going to tell you that right now, for sure, there exists the third resettlement bar. Okay. Firm resettlement bar is, let me just address it like this. So what is the firm resettlement bar? The firm resettlement bar says that if you crossed through any country before coming to the United States, or if you were physically present in any country before coming to the United States after you fled your country, and you had permanent residence in that other country or countries or an offer to get it, you can't get asylum here in the United States. You're barred under the firm resettlement bar. The idea here is like, look, you fled your country, but then you went somewhere else and you could have just stayed there. Like you were safe there. You had the legal ability to stay there long-term or permanently. So why didn't you just stay there? Why should we be giving you protection? Should have stayed there. That's the idea behind it. And it's pretty harsh. But there are some exceptions to it. Okay. It's a little bit tricky too, because I said that one of the sort of criteria for it is that in addition to being physically present there, you have to have had permanent residency or an offer to get it. Both of those things are a little vague, actually. What is permanent residency and what does it mean to have an offer to get permanent residency? There's gray area around both of those questions, such that it's a complicated area of law. So the important thing is, if you go to another country, anywhere in the world, after you flee your country, but before you get here, even if it's an airport layover, like even if you don't even leave the tarmac, even if the plane touches down on the tarmac and like some people get off, but you don't, but then it goes on to the next country, on to the United States, that still counts as being physically present in a third country. So the question then is, okay, did you have did you have permanent residence there? Okay, that's the operative question, all right? It keeps a lot of people from getting asylum. We have lots of Venezuelan clients who have other citizenships or permanent residence in other countries, and this does sometimes keep people from getting asylum. We've been on YouTube the whole time. Let's go to TikTok. Good question. So we've got, hello, I'm from Cameroon. Does the TPS status of Cameroonians play a role in winning an asylum case? Thanks for asking the question. We have lots of clients from Cameroon. We know these cases really well, and we've had success with them. You should think about contacting us. If you want to give yourself the best possible chance to win your asylum case, I hope you'll call us and schedule an asylum strategy session with one of our asylum professionals. Actually, don't call. The easiest, quickest, best way to do this is online. Go to www.winasylum.com. You don't even need the www. Just go to winasylum.com. That's WINASYLUM.com. Winasylum.com. And there you can schedule a consultation on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. It looks like this. It's super easy. It's quick. You can book this in like under 2 minutes. And you'll be set up with one of our asylum professionals so that we can talk and see if we can help you secure your future in the United States through asylum. Okay. That is that. I didn't answer your question. I got sidetracked. The question is this: what's the impact of having TPS on your asylum case? Like, will having temporary protected status make it more or less likely that you're going to win your underlying asylum case, or does it just have no impact? Well, really, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter for whether you're going to win or not. The officer doesn't take that into account. It neither hurts you nor helps you. Really, it just has no impact on the decision of whether you win asylum or not, neither from the asylum office nor at the immigration court. Now, at the asylum office, it makes a difference in what happens next if you get a negative decision. If the asylum office says, nope, you're not eligible for asylum, but you have TPS. Really, if you have any status at the time that you get a negative decision from the asylum office, what I'm about to explain is what happens. But we see it very often with TPS. So if you have TPS, you get a negative decision from the asylum office, they don't send your case to immigration court and try to deport you. Rather, they just deny you. Well, first, they give you a chance to sort of change their minds. They send you a notice of intent to deny, NOID, NOID we call it. And it says like, hey, we intend to deny you unless you can write back to us and change our minds. Here's the reasons that we think make you ineligible or that you don't qualify for asylum. You have 16 days to write back to us and try to change our minds. And so you do that. And usually they don't change their minds. It's very hard to change their minds. We've had success with it a few times, but it's really, really rare. And when they deny you, if you have TPS, well, the next thing is after you respond or after those 16 days are up, they look again at your status. And if you have TPS, they don't try to deport you. They don't send your case to immigration court. Instead, they just say, asylum denied. You don't win asylum. Your asylum case now is gone, disappeared. But you still have your TPS. All right. All right. Okay, interesting. Is it bad for an asylum, TikTok, is it bad, Hamed said, is it bad for an asylum seeker in New York to get another state's driver's license and live there? Well, it depends. So thanks for the question, by the way. The question is, if you're living in one state and you're seeking asylum and your asylum case is pending in that first state, what happens if you then get a driver's license from another state and start living in that other state? Well, first of all, you need to, if you're actually living somewhere else, like if you move from state A to state B, you need to inform the government. If your case is pending with USCIS, you need to do a change of address form with them. You can do it online. If it's with the immigration court, you need to inform the immigration court by filing form EOIR 33. With USCIS, it's called form AR 11. Now, yeah, you need to do that. You can't, you shouldn't just be like, oh, I'm just not going to tell them. You need to tell them, okay? And then what happens next depends on whether your case is with USCIS or the immigration court. If it's with USCIS and you move, after you tell them that you've moved, your case is automatically transferred to the jurisdiction of the new place. Now, asylum offices cover more than just, most of the asylum offices cover more than just like one area or one state. Let me rephrase that. Some of them cover multiple states. So you could move from Texas to Oklahoma and you still need to inform USCIS that you've moved, but your case won't get sent to a different asylum office because the Houston asylum office covers both Oklahoma and Texas. But like if you move from New York to another state, you would necessarily be moving into the jurisdiction of another asylum office. So with USCIS, your case will get transferred to a new asylum office if you move from the jurisdiction of one asylum office into the jurisdiction of another asylum office. In immigration court, it's not automatic. Your case stays wherever it started out unless and until either the judge or a prosecutor, the judge says, okay, we're going to transfer it. Now, sometimes the judge will do that on their own when they realize that you've moved, and they'll just transfer it. Or sometimes the prosecutor will ask the judge to do it, and the judge usually agrees, but sometimes not. Or you can ask the judge to transfer your case from the old immigration court to one closer that covers the area where you now live. That can be a tricky decision as to whether to affirmatively reach out and ask to have your case transferred. You need to be looking at the approval rates, of the judge that you currently have in the old place versus like the average for the court in the new place where you are. Because, let's say your immigration court case is pending in, San Francisco where you used to live, and then you move to Miami. Well, you don't want to move your case to Miami because you're almost certainly going to have a much lower chance of success. You're probably going to have a judge in Miami with a much lower approval rate than the judge that you had in San Francisco. You can look this stuff up, right? This is public information. The approval rates, not just by court, but also by judge. All right. So that's an important thing to take into account. All right, let's go back to YouTube and see what's going on over there. YouTube, Gustavo says thumbs up. Gustavo and who was it? Danielle. I don't know if you guys speak Spanish, but if you do, I want you to know that I also have a Spanish language YouTube channel. It's called Asilo Aprobado. Go to YouTube and search for Asilo Aprobado, and you can find my Spanish language YouTube channel. Okay. All right. Franklin says, sir, on YouTube, Franklin says, sir, when seeking asylum at the border, do you go to immigration court or asylum office for a hearing or interview? Thanks for the question, Franklin. Appreciate it. So the question is, if you come to the United States, to the border, to the southern border, and you say, hey, I want to seek asylum, what happens? Do you end up going to a USCIS asylum interview, or is your case going to be heard in immigration court? Well, normally it's going to be in immigration court. Usually when people come here without a visa, they get put in deportation proceedings, which means that your case is going to be held in an immigration court, not at the asylum office with USCIS. There are some exceptions, but that's usually how it works, okay? Now, while you are detained, there's a pretty good chance that you're gonna have a credible fear interview. This is kind of like a mini asylum interview. It's usually done by telephone, sometimes in person, but usually by telephone with an asylum officer from the asylum office of USCIS. But that's kind of like a first step into having the opportunity to even fight your case fully in immigration court. And if you pass that or you get a positive credible fear decision, then you normally get released from detention and you get to go into the country, and you will have immigration court proceedings where you need to apply for asylum, because a credible fear interview is not the same as applying for asylum. You need to actually file the application form with the court and fight your case in immigration court. Thanks for the question. All right, let's see. Okay, I have a video evidence, but applied with USCIS online. How can I submit the video with my application? There's no option for that, or do I show it in person? Oh, good question. Thanks, Yabsira. Sorry if I mispronounced that. It's interesting. It's tricky. The question is, how do you get video evidence into USCIS's hands? How do you get the asylum officer who's going to do your interview to be able to consider and watch a video that you want them to watch? Because sometimes, there's people have video recordings of things that are relevant to their case and they want to use it as evidence. It's tricky. What we do is actually, let me tell you, here's a good option for you. If you don't have a lawyer, here's what you should do. You should upload that clip to a YouTube channel. It can be your personal YouTube channel, and then make the video like unlisted. And if you don't want people to see it, other people to be seeing it, or you can even make it, I think you can make it private on YouTube, and I think at least unlisted will for sure mean that they'll be able to see it. And then put that link on a piece of paper, like on a Google Doc or Microsoft Doc, and on the document say like, hey, this is a link to a YouTube video that is evidence of my case, and I would explain why you're submitting it, like what it shows, why it matters to your case. And if it's in a foreign language, you need to do a a transcript and a translation of that transcript. And there's online services that you can use that provide this transcription service of videos and translation of them. If it's really hard to hear, then you should do that as well. If it's long, you may want to consider trying to edit it to where it shows sort of just the most important part or parts, okay? Or at least in what you write on the document, you need to say, at the 2 minutes and 12-second mark is where you can see the person walk up to me and punch me in the back of the head, or explain like at what minute and second mark the most important things occur. Okay. And you can upload that. You applied online through my USCIS, upload that document as where you've explained this and where you've put the link, upload that as evidence in your my USCIS account. Okay. So Victoria Barros said, does that only apply to hearings, or can an asylum interview also be virtual? Because I was talking earlier about how immigration court hearings sometimes are by WebEx, by video conference. So the question is, what about USCIS? No, asylum interviews at USCIS are in person for you as the applicant. The immigration lawyer can participate virtually. But you as the asylum applicant, you got to show up in person. There's no option for you to do it virtually by video conference or telephone or anything like that. Okay. All right. So make some changes. Says, for the client, is it better if the attorney comes to court in person, or will the attorney be attending via video conference? If the asylum applicant is going to be attending by video conference, then I think that the lawyer, it's good for them to do it by video conference as well. My law firm, our role is or our position, our policy is, if our client has to go in person, we're going to go in person too. But if the client is able to do it by video conference, then we'll do it by video conference too. Okay. All right. Nice. Good to see that. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, cool. Thank you. All right. Daniel Rivera on YouTube asks, what are the best states to apply for asylum? So thank you for the question. It's an important one. So the question is, where should you apply for asylum, or what are the best states or cities to apply for asylum in? Now, it goes by where you live, all right? So if you're willing to move somewhere before you apply for asylum, then yeah, you can forum shop. Then basically you can pick, where you want to have your case based on the asylum office that has the highest approval rates. So what are those places in case you do want to do that? Well, California is overall, I would say, the best, okay? Historically, over many years, the asylum offices, there's two of them in California. One's in San Francisco, one's in Los Angeles. Those normally have the highest approval rates. There's been some years where they don't, but they're still near the top in all of those years as well. San Francisco is the best. Historically, it has the highest approval rates, the San Francisco Asylum Office. Los Angeles is high as well. Other asylum offices with high approval rates are New Jersey. The Newark, New Jersey Asylum Office has a high approval rate. Okay. And then the Arlington, Virginia Asylum Office, which is close to Washington, D.C., has a high approval rate. Chicago has a pretty high approval rate. But after that, it kind of drops off, and the rest are quite a bit below. Actually, New Orleans also has a high approval rate. New Orleans. But other than that, they're low. Houston's very low. Miami's very low. It's tough. It's tough out there. All right. Okay. What else? All right. Rupak says, I filed for asylum 7 months ago and I got received. I guess they received your application. I have a master hearing next month, but it doesn't show up in EOIR. So thank you, Rupak. So the question is, why is your immigration court hearing not showing up when you check online in the immigration court system? This immigration court system is like the EOIR online system. You can also call their hotline, their number, and ask, using your A number, you can ask them, hey, when's my next hearing? And the question here is saying, well, look, I have a letter that says I need to go to court on a certain date, or maybe it's in your notice to appear probably. But when you check online, it says no hearing scheduled. What's up with that? Well, usually this is a product of the fact that the notice to appear that you got, that is the document that like puts you in immigration court proceedings. It starts the deportation proceedings against you. Sometimes that document doesn't get filed with the immigration court yet. Like the immigration authorities are just too overwhelmed with work, and they just haven't gotten around to filing this document and some other key documents with the immigration court. So as of now, you technically don't even have a proceeding going on in immigration court. However, you do have this notice to appear that says show up on X date, right? And the immigration court actually does have that information. Like you, on their internal systems, you will show up as among the people that are supposed to have a hearing that day, but your case hasn't actually formally been initiated. So what do? You should go. You should go to the hearing because on the date that it says on your notice to appear, because there's a chance that the prosecutors for the government that work for ICE, which is part of DHS, there's a chance that they will file those documents on the day of your hearing, or like maybe the day before or something, to where the judge will be expecting to actually start, working on your case on that day. And if you don't show up and the judge calls your name and is like, we're ready to start, to take pleadings and start working on your case, if you don't show up, you could get ordered deported. So the point is, you should go. Even though it's not showing up in EOIR, I recommend that you go on the date that you got on that notice to appear. Okay. All right. Matt says on YouTube, what's the difference between the asylum office and immigration court? Thank you. Oh, nice. All right. So the question is, what's the difference between the asylum office and immigration court? Well, the asylum office is for people who are not in deportation proceedings. This is the distinction. It's whether you're in deportation proceedings or not. If you're in deportation proceedings, your case is with the immigration court. You will be seeking asylum before an immigration judge and immigration court. If you're not in deportation proceedings and you want to seek asylum, you're going to be doing that with USCIS. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is the name of the agency, and they run the asylum offices. So how do you know whether you're in deportation proceedings? Well, if you get a letter called a notice to appear, a document called a notice to appear, it basically says like, hey, the Department of Homeland Security believes that you are deportable for these reasons. Like you came without permission, or you came on a visa and you were allowed to stay for X amount of months, but you stayed overstayed. You stayed anyway, longer than you're supposed to, and you don't have any other status. If you've gotten that document and that document has been filed with the immigration court, you're in deportation proceedings. You don't get to choose. You don't get to choose whether I want to apply with USCIS or I want to apply with the immigration court. It's just a matter of whether you're in deportation proceedings or not. All right. Nice. Beautiful tie, by the way. Make some change. Says beautiful tie, by the way. Thank you. I do like this tie. Thank you. All right. So Tewadros, sorry if I mispronounced that, says, can I apply for an EB-2 while my asylum application is being processed? Thank you. So the question is, while you've got an asylum application pending with USCIS and like you're waiting on your asylum interview, can you get a different status? Like, can you apply for some kind of business or employment or investment based status like the EB-2? This is a very common one that people often ask about. Can I get that? Can I apply for that and get that while my asylum case is going on? Maybe. It's tricky. This stuff is tricky. It depends on several things, and this is not my area. This is just not the area that I focus on. I'm working on asylum every day, all day. I'm zoned in. Me and my team, that's what we do from dusk till dawn every day. And we don't focus on other areas of immigration law. So my advice to you, if you want to really explore whether you might be able to get EB-2 status or something else while your asylum case is pending, is you got to talk to a lawyer who focuses on that. If you want to email me, info@politicalasyluምላwyers.com, and ask about that, I'll give you a recommendation of someone that I really trust to assess your situation and tell you whether there's a decent chance that you can get some status like that. Okay. This is what I think brings up what I think is an important point. I think that you should get help from the professional that focuses on the exact problem that you need solved. Okay. So I do asylum. That's what we focus on all day, every day. If you need help with asylum, I think you should come to my law firm. If you need help with some kind of business or employment based visa or immigration status, I want you to go to someone who focuses on that. Okay. It's kind of, I analogize it to medical stuff. If you have a heart problem, you're not going to go to a neurologist who deals with the brain. You're not going to go to that kind of specialist, right? You're going to go to the heart surgeon, or the cardiologist, the person who has, specialized experience and training in that area and who is working on that every single day, who's current on, the state of the art on all things related to heart care, right? That's how it is in immigration, I think. I think you should go to the immigration lawyer that focuses on the exact immigration problem that you need solved. That's my 2 cents on that. All right, let's go to TikTok. Are you giving services in Seattle, Washington, says Satwant on TikTok. Yeah, we have clients in Seattle. I was in Seattle not long ago for an asylum interview. Yeah. So the question is, can we help people in places like Seattle or in San Francisco or New York or Miami? Because, we're based in Houston. My law firm is based in Houston. Excuse me. But we help people all over the country. Doesn't matter where you are. Here's the thing. Immigration law is considered federal law. And the way it works is that if you are licensed as an attorney to practice law, to be a lawyer in any U.S. state, then you can do federal law things in all of the states. You just got to be licensed in one to do federal law in all of them. And immigration law is federal, which means that a lawyer who is a lawyer licensed in Florida can do immigration law in California, and a lawyer licensed in Nebraska can do immigration law in New York, etc. So we help people all over the country, including Seattle. All right. Give us a call. Actually, go online. Go to winasylum.com. 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 That's where you can schedule an asylum strategy session with one of our professionals. Super quick and easy once you get to that page. It looks like this on YouTube and TikTok. YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. On TikTok, you're not seeing the cool graphic on my screen, but go to winasylum.com and you'll see how easy it is. It's quick and easy to get set up with an asylum strategy session where, one of our asylum professionals is going to talk with you about what's going on, and see if we think we can help you. And if so, we're going to tell you what we're going to do exactly to help you. Okay. If you prefer to call rather than booking it online, it's 713-909-0401. Again, 713-909-0401. And that's how you can reach out and schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can see if we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. All right. Okay. Let's see. What do we have now? Hi, Brian. Good morning. Chander. Thank you. This is a good question. This is interesting. Laid back audio file. I like your profile picture on YouTube. Says, hey there, I had my USCIS asylum interview years ago, but I was readmitted to the immigration court. My question is there a difference in the way the case is evaluated and how hard the judge and the agent are? Thank you. Appreciate the question. So the question is there much of a difference in how a case unfolds and how a case is handled and treated and reviewed as between the asylum office and then in the immigration court? So this person's asking after they had an interview and then they did not have success at the asylum interview, so their case is sent to court. And now they want to know, well, what's it like in court in terms of the evaluation? Is it harder or easier? The good news is that the approval rates in immigration court recently have been higher than in the asylum offices. So that's good news, all right? It is a little bit more intense for some very often because at the asylum office, the asylum officer is at least supposed to be an objective evaluator who is like just seeking facts and not trying to like interrogate you or not trying to get you. But in practice, in reality, often they are trying to get you and trying to get you to mess up. But in immigration court, they 100%, the prosecutor for the DHS, for ICE, is trying to get you deported. Some of them are professional and friendly and whatever, but some of them are jerks, okay? And they're going to come at you hard probably. A lot of the judges can be jerks as well, and can be very rude and intimidating and tough on you. So it is a bit more of an intense environment. It feels more formal. You're in a courtroom. It looks and feels formal. So that can be a little bit daunting. But the good news is that overall, as I said, the approval rates are higher in immigration court. I think that's just because immigration judges tend to be more sophisticated and have, more experience and training in immigration law. So that's a good thing. But we should talk about how we might be able to help you get ready for that. All right. All right. Interesting. Okay, this is a good question. I never heard this. HUDS asks on YouTube, is it true that if your case is delayed for 10 years and you don't have any criminal records and you're working in like healthcare, the healthcare field, are you directly granted asylum without an interview? The answer is no, it's not true. Another asylum myth propagated out there on social media, no doubt. No, it's not true. It's not true at all. You have to do an interview with USCIS. The interview is never waived, okay, no matter what. There's no process by which USCIS will say, okay, in this case, because they meet certain requirements or whatever, we're not going to interview this person. We're just going to consider their documents and make a decision. Nope. Asylum office, you gotta do the interview. Now, if you're getting close, HUDs, if you're getting close to 10 years, if you're over 3 years, you should sue the government to force an interview. Okay. So here's the thing. If you applied for asylum 3 or more years ago, 3 years or more, and you haven't yet gotten a decision, your case is stuck. It's stalled, right? You can get it unstuck and you can get progress on your case by suing the government. You do this by filing a lawsuit in a federal court. It's called a Mandamus lawsuit. It's a weird Latin word, but you're asking a federal judge to tell the asylum office that they have to do their job. They have to move your case forward. They have to give you your interview and your decision. And this is a incredibly successful tool, this Mandamus lawsuit. We've been doing it a ton lately, and I got to tell you, it works. It works at getting your case unstuck. You should call us to talk about this. If you've been waiting 3 years or more for your asylum interview and you're ready to get your interview so you can win your case and get on with your life and get on that path to permanent residency and to citizenship, we should talk about Mandamus. Give me a call. That number is 713-909-0401. Is Badru on here? On these lives, usually my man Badru is on here, and he'll say something in the comments about, yes, how great Mandamus is because it helped him get his interview and he won his case and he has asylum now. This is interesting. Yaniwaz says, is it possible to change the form I-589 without the asylum clock stopping? I made a mistake putting the word persecuted on it. So the idea here is that there's certain things that you can do that if they delay your case, there's certain things that can happen that can make your EAD clock, your work permit clock, stop to where it'll just freeze. And remember, you have to get to 180 days before USCIS can issue your work permit. 180 days after having applied for asylum. If the clock stops before that and it gets frozen, you won't get your work permit until it gets unfrozen and gets to 180. Amending your I-589, I don't think it would stop the clock. I've never heard of it stopping the clock, but if you just be safe, don't worry about it. You do not need to make that amendment now. In fact, you don't need to make that amendment in writing at all. If it's just, I made a mistake in putting the word persecuted on, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but really pretty much anything. At the asylum office, you can wait until the day of your interview. You're going to review that, pretty much the whole application with the asylum officer at your interview. And that's where you'll be like, oh, officer, I noticed a mistake. And you'll tell them the mistake and they'll literally cross out the old word and write in the new word. And it will not hurt you, your case at all. So basically, Yaniwaz, I wouldn't worry about it. All right. All right. That's it for today. Pleasure talking with all of you in the Asylum Seekers United community, all the folks that are working hard and trying to put themselves in the best possible chance to have success so they can secure their future in America. Thanks for hanging out and talking. Oh, nice. Thank you for that on TikTok. That was fun. It's a pleasure. Again, I'm Brian Manning. Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, winasylum.com. Schedule a consultation so we can see if we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. It's a